Congratulations, Ms. Miller. Your permanent residence permit for Finland has been approved. Would you like to keep your domestic identity as well? The clerk asked me politely. I answered without a second thought. No, please cancel it. The clerk nodded. Ms. Miller, I have to let you know that once the cancellation is processed, all your old records and personal information will be gone for good. You can't reverse this. If you're sure, please sign here. He slid a form across the counter. I took the pen and signed my name, feeling a sense of calm resolve. After that, I just drove around the city with no destination in mind, letting the car take me wherever it wanted. As evening came, I found myself downtown. A huge digital billboard on the side of a skyscraper was showing clips from a popular reality show about celebrity couples. While I was stopped at a red light, a familiar scene caught my eye. It was Ethan Hayes, in a clip that had recently gone viral. The video showed him at the Big Architects Gala, where he'd just received the highest award in his field, a huge accomplishment for someone not even 30. But instead of staying to celebrate, he looked flustered and hurried away. A reporter ran after him for a quick interview. "Mr. Hayes, why are you leaving so soon?" she asked, out of breath. He turned to the camera with a shy, surprised smile. "I'm going to propose today. She's always on time, and if I'm late, I might miss my chance. There will be other galas, but I only get one shot to propose." The show's narrator gushed. "What a fairy tale romance! I'm obsessed." On the screen, Ethan's eyes were clear and his words were confident. Two young women on the sidewalk watching the billboard squealed with delight. "Ethan is so in love with Ava," one of them said. "Can you believe he just walked out of the Architects Gala? All those important people were there and he just left." The other one nodded eagerly. "That's nothing. Do you know all the romantic things he's done for her? At her first runway show when she was 19, he was in the audience. He hasn't missed a single one since. And when she mentioned she liked emeralds, he spent $700 million at an auction for a full set of emerald jewelry just to see her smile. They weren't even officially together then." Online, people called him the perfect man. Women everywhere were jealous of me. How could a man like him even exist? A car horn blared behind me, pulling me back to the present. The light was green. I pressed the gas and drove on, glancing at the two girls in my rearview mirror. The dim light in the car cast shadows on my face, hiding my expression. A cold smile slowly formed on my lips. Maybe marriage really is the end of love. Even after getting everything I thought I wanted, it all meant nothing in the end. This man, who had promised to love me forever, had broken every single promise. He had been voted the ideal husband in an online poll, but even the most perfect husbands could cheat. Now I understood. Every time he said he had a sudden burst of inspiration and had to go back to his studio, he was really going to be with that other woman. It felt like a hand was wrapped around my throat, shoving me underwater until the cold seeped into my bones and I couldn't breathe. More photos came through on my phone, pictures of Ethan wrapped up with her. My face went blank. I remembered all the times Ethan had told me he loved me. When I finally gave in, I told him, "If you can accept my past, then we can talk about a future." I had told him everything, that I was an orphan who grew up in an acrobatic troupe, that the elegant model he admired was once a homeless girl with an impossibly expensive contract hanging over her head. I had been scared to love, scared of being hurt. After I told him, Ethan only became more protective. "I will never bring up your past again," he promised. "From now on, I'll protect you from everything." He even paid off the huge penalty on my contract, freeing me from a cage I thought I'd never escape. I remembered how he looked at me as he signed the papers, saying gently, "Trust me. From now on, things will only get better." That day, my walls came down, and I let him in completely. He couldn't go 3 sentences without mentioning my name. He was always checking my social media, getting me brand deals, and chasing sponsorships for me. Everyone said he wasn't just my boyfriend, but my biggest fan. At our wedding, he looked at me like I was his entire world. He said marrying me was the proudest thing he'd ever done. He swore that if he ever betrayed me, he deserved to lose what he loved most. Well, it was time for that to happen. I was leaving. I would disappear from his life for good. My eyes were red as I drove to the television studio for the day's filming. Backstage, Ethan suddenly appeared and wrapped his arms around me. "I called and called, but you didn't answer. I told you I'd drive you tonight. Why didn't you listen? Are you trying to make your husband worry?" As he spoke, he looked closer and noticed how pale I was and how red my eyes were. His concern deepened. He cupped my face. "Tell me, did someone bully you? I'll make them pay." I calmly moved his hand away. "No, it was just the wind. I had the windows down." He seemed to relax a little and smiled, tucking a stray piece of hair behind my ear. His gaze was full of affection, like a man still completely in love, but I saw the truth now. His heart had been split in two. After I had my hair and makeup done in the dressing room, I got more messages from Chloe. There was a photo of an open designer suitcase filled with empty condom boxes. The message read, "I didn't realize we used so many. Oh, and he doesn't use condoms with me anymore. Our baby will be beautiful." I lowered my head, trying to hide my emotions, but my hand was shaking violently. I turned off my phone. My chest felt tight, like my nerves were being severed one by one. I looked over at Ethan. He felt my gaze and gave me that familiar smile, the one that used to make my heart race. Now, it was just a cruel joke. Our marriage was a rotten apple, shiny on the outside but decayed within. In the observation room during the show, the camera didn't often show the guests. I glanced to the side and saw Ethan secretly checking his phone, his fingers scrolling endlessly. My eyes burned. Another provocative message, no doubt. I casually flipped my hair to hide the tears. The recording finished around 1 in the morning. Ethan rushed over looking tense. "Honey, I just had an idea. I'm feeling inspired. I need to go back to the office." "I'm sorry I can't take you home." He gathered my hair and pulled me into a hug. "I hate being away from you. Please understand. Drive safe, okay?" My eyelashes fluttered. He lied so easily now. This was the same man who had chased me for so long, the man who had cried and said, "You're the only one I'll ever love." Now he was saying he couldn't bear to be apart from me while he was rushing off to be with someone else. Before I could say anything, his phone vibrated. He pulled away, glanced at the message, and left in a hurry. I stood alone in the cold night, watching his car disappear. Only then did I whisper to myself, "I will never forgive you." Disappearing from his life would be my answer. Back at our house, I took a shower, hoping to wash away the day's bitterness. Just as I put on my robe and walked into the bedroom, my phone lit up. It was a video. Chloe was on the screen, blindfolded with a tie that looked exactly like the one Ethan had worn that evening. She was wearing revealing lingerie, little dog ears on her head, and a black collar. She crawled across the bed. "Master, come punish me," she purred. Then a familiar figure came into the frame. It was Ethan, lunging at her like a starving wolf. My breath caught in my throat. My fingers trembled as I frantically tried to swipe the video away. I closed the app and took a deep breath, trying to ease the tightness in my chest. I thought I was already numb, that I had gotten used to these betrayals. But I had underestimated the impact of the video. It felt like my whole body had been plunged into an icy sea. I couldn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring into the darkness until morning. My phone buzzed again. It was another message from Chloe. "His stamina is unbelievable. My waist nearly broke last night. I heard your birthday is coming up. I have a surprise for you. I'll send the location. Be there at 3 p.m. sharp." My fingers tightened around the phone as if I could crush it. When Ethan got home, he found me sitting motionless by the bed, my eyes bloodshot and my phone shattered on the floor. His heart sank. He knelt in front of me, his voice full of concern. "Darling, what's wrong? Your eyes are so red and your hands and feet are ice cold." He took my trembling hands and started rubbing them. I blinked slowly, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. I looked down, avoiding his gaze. "I watched a horror movie," I said, my voice low. "I couldn't sleep all night." Ethan pulled me into a hug. "Then don't watch those anymore. You scared me to death." Just as I was about to reply, his phone rang. "Mr. Hayes, the venue setup you requested is finished." Panic flashed across his face. He quickly ended the call. Seeing that my expression hadn't changed, he sighed in relief and pretended to be annoyed. "My phone number must have been leaked. I keep getting these weird calls." He gave me a faint smile. "Honey, you didn't sleep well. Let the driver take you to a spa for some rest." I didn't say anything. Ethan took my silence as agreement. As I started to get my things together, he left in a hurry. I opened the tracking app on my phone and checked his car's location. It was a luxury hotel, the same place Chloe had sent in her message. In that moment, it all clicked. He had lied to me again. This was supposed to be my birthday celebration, but a few days ago he had told me a story. Honey, a young couple wants to propose there. The guy seems really in love. But if you say no, I'll turn them down. There was no young couple. It was all a lie to give the venue to Chloe. He had counted on me being too soft-hearted to ruin someone else's love story. My chest tightened with bitter disappointment. At exactly 3:00 p.m., Chloe sent another message. Take the panoramic elevator to the top floor. The view is stunning. I tried it for you. From the elevator, I saw an ocean of flower spinks, reds, whites, and blues. A path of roses led to the center, lined with 10-foot-high floral walls. In the middle was a large, three-dimensional heart made of roses, with Chloe's name inside it. As the elevator went down, I saw a woman in a white wedding dress walking down the path. It was Chloe. I couldn't look away. Then another message from Chloe arrived. This was all designed for you, but one of my tears, and it became his proposal to me. Take a hint and step aside. You're almost 30 and still desperate for attention. How tacky. She started a live stream of the proposal. Dressed in an elaborate gown, she beamed at the camera. I feel like the luckiest girl alive, she said, as a large hand circled her waist. The man was off camera, but the scar on his thumb was unmistakable. It was Ethan's. My vision blurred. That scar was from a time he had peeled fruit for me, back when he was still gentle and true. Now it was just evidence of his betrayal. Tears streamed down my face. My husband was proposing to another woman in a venue he had promised me. The comment section of the live stream exploded. This design looks like Miss Miller's style. Is it her work? Someone asked. It's his work, Chloe replied sweetly. A flicker of triumph appeared in Chloe's eyes. All you need is a man who truly loves you. She turned toward the hotel and asked in a syrupy voice, Darling, am I the most beautiful bride to be? Am I the one you love most? Though the camera never showed his face, I heard Ethan's familiar laugh. Chloe is the most beautiful. Today is your day. Who else would I love? He finally said, The woman I love most is Chloe. All others were just passing through. Chloe looked at the camera again, her eyes full of malice. Her lips moved slowly, mouthing the words, his mind. Viewers thought she was just showing off, but I understood. She was declaring war. I collapsed onto a lobby sofa, my body numb, my heart feeling like it had been pierced with frozen shards. I dialed Ethan's number, but the call didn't connect. I tried again and again. Nothing. I let out a hollow laugh. This man who used to drop everything for me now wouldn't even pick up his phone. I finally accepted it. He had changed completely. All my love and hate vanished in that moment, and I felt strangely relieved that I would be leaving soon. I never wanted to see Ethan Hayes again. As I stood up, a sharp pain shot through my abdomen. Warm blood trickled down my leg, and my vision went dark. The last thing I heard was someone shouting for help. You're showing signs of a threatened miscarriage, but fortunately the baby is still safe. The doctor told me later. During pregnancy, you need to avoid intense emotional stress. I remembered the doctor's words, my eyes filled with disbelief. Life had played a cruel joke on me. That night when I got home, I saw Ethan's messages. Honey, I was too busy to answer your calls today. I won't be coming home tonight. Too much work. I knew they were lies, but I didn't care anymore. I had more important things to deal with. I contacted a real estate agent to sell all my properties, including the villa Ethan had built for me and named Love Nest. All the jewelry and luxury gifts he had given me were listed on resale sites at low prices, and everything sold quickly. I fed our photo albums into a shredder, page by page. I was erasing the past. The next day at noon, while I was reviewing my resale orders, the bedroom door flew open. Ethan rushed in and pulled me into his arms, his voice trembling. Honey, if you're angry at me for missing your calls, I understand. You can yell at me, hit me, anything, but why are you selling Love Nest? I designed that house just for you. Every detail is my love for you. Are you selling it because you want to leave me? I gently pushed him away and looked into his eyes. They were red and full of sorrow, like a puppy abandoned in the rain. I used to melt at that look, but not anymore. You're overthinking it, I said calmly. I just don't like it anymore. I married you. It's not like I can run away. Inside, I sneered. So he did know I might leave. Then why betray me? I stared at him coldly. Darling, if you love me so much, why don't you design me another house? I didn't want him to know my real plans, so I lied, telling him I sold the villa because I didn't like the design. Hearing this, Ethan finally let go of the issue. He nodded earnestly and promised, "Honey, I guarantee you'll be completely satisfied with the new villa's design." The idea of me leaving made him anxious. I was curious to see how he would react when I really disappeared. I coaxed and comforted him, and only after he heard my repeated promises that I would never leave did he slowly begin to relax. 2 days later, I went to the obstetrics department again to check on the baby. Fortunately, everything was normal. During my last visit, the doctor had warned me that because of my physical condition, it would be risky to have another pregnancy. This might be my only child. I sat on a bench outside the consultation room, my hands gently stroking my still flat belly. Not far away, I saw Chloe clinging to Ethan as they came out of the same department. She was wearing a hat and a mask, so neither of them saw me. "I really thought I was pregnant," Chloe pouted. "I was so excited, but it was a false alarm. What even is a pseudochesis? I had all the symptoms." Ethan tried to stifle his laughter. Chloe grew more annoyed and started playfully hitting his chest. From where I was sitting, it looked like a romantic little scene. "It must be because your husband hasn't been trying hard enough," I heard him say. Then he scooped her up into his arms and whispered in her ear, "Let's go home and make a baby." Chloe's flirtatious laughter echoed down the hall. I lowered my head and smiled faintly. For years I had focused on my career and never planned for children. Ethan had said he was in no rush either, but clearly he had always wanted more. Before I left, I would give him 2 parting gifts. Back at the villa, I was talking to a nutritionist about a prenatal diet when a live stream notification from Chloe popped up on my phone. She had become something of a social media celebrity. The broadcast was from her home. She wore a revealing top and ripped jeans, posing for the camera. "Babies, do you think my catwalk is as good as a real model's?" she cooed. A comment caught her eye. "Is that folic acid on your table? Are you expecting?" Chloe flushed. "Yes, we're trying for a baby. I've been using a secret weapon lately. I believe we'll have good news soon." Her fans were curious. "I've been doing some intimate rejuvenation treatments," she winked. Just then, a man's deep voice entered the stream. "Still talking about me?" The audience went wild. "Let us see brother-in-law," they begged. "No way," Chloe grinned. "He's for my eyes only." "So possessive," he murmured off camera. A pair of long, familiar hands appeared briefly in the frame, pulling her out of view. Their flirtatious sounds continued. "Baby, wearing just a thong? You're playing with fire," he said. Later, Chloe reappeared on screen, panting and flushed. "That's it for today, babies. Your brother-in-law can't wait anymore." I watched the entire stream without expression, recording the footage as evidence. These scenes, which once would have broken my heart, now barely registered. 3 hours later, Chloe sent new photos. A man's large hands were painting a woman's toes with bright red polish. "My husband says my feet look best in red," she wrote. Another message followed. "Old Lady Miller, your husband said your feet are ruined from wearing heels. He has zero interest in them. You know he has a serious foot fetish, right?" I stared at the messages. This woman was foolish and pitiful. Every taunt, every photo peeled away another layer of illusion. I realized I had never truly understood who Ethan was. That afternoon, I assumed Ethan would stay out late, but to my surprise, he came home before 9, holding a bouquet of sunflowers, my favorite. He pulled me into a hug, and for a second, I saw the boy I had fallen for. As I leaned into his chest, I smelled a faint, citrusy scent-me-usual perfume, but I hadn't been wearing any. My pupils trembled. A quiet, bitter smile curved my lips. He had been with Chloe. He had even gifted her the same perfume. If he wanted to act, I would play along. I looked up and said calmly, "I'm pregnant." Ethan froze, then beamed with joy. "Really, honey? Really?" He jumped up, laughing, all his usual composure gone. He would probably be a good father. He seemed to love children. But this was also the man who had tried to make a baby with another woman. I calmly pulled out 2 documents I had prepared, divorce papers and a custody waiver. With a gentle smile, I flipped to the signature page. "Darling," I said sweetly, "I found 2 promising brands. Will you help me acquire them?" Caught up in the moment, Ethan signed both papers without a second thought. "Honey, that's nothing. If you wanted the stars, I'd find a way to buy them for you," he said proudly. As he spoke, his phone began to ring. He glanced at the screen, frowned at the caller ID, and declined the call. The phone rang again. I tugged on his sleeve. "Answer it. It might be important." Reluctantly, he stepped aside. His voice was cold. "What is it?" From the other end, I could hear loud music and a woman's tearful, slurred voice. "Honey, someone drugged me at the club. I feel so hot. Men keep touching me. I'm scared." Whatever Chloe said next made Ethan's expression change instantly. Panic flickered in his eyes. "Honey, it's an emergency. I have to go," he muttered and rushed out. My phone lit up with a new message from Chloe. "Old Lady Miller. So what if he came home?" All I had to do was cry a little and he came running. "You're still clinging to the title of Mrs. Hayes like it means something." I switched off the screen. Ethan didn't come back that night. In the days that followed, he didn't call. I sent him a message. "Ethan, come with me to the place we got married one more time. That town was where our marriage had begun. It was only right that it ended there." Inside the church, surrounded by familiar sights, my eyes welled with tears. A pair of hands reached out, wiping them gently and placing a shawl around my shoulders. "Honey, why are you crying?" he asked. I leaned into his chest. "Ethan," I said softly, "do you remember the vows you made here?" His expression softened. "I'll never forget that day. I swore I would make you happy for a lifetime. You're the only one I'll ever love." A sarcastic smile played on my lips. "And what if you don't keep that promise?" After a pause, he replied, "Then I'll lose what I love most. But that day will never come." His words were meaningless. We walked down a quiet country road, our fingers intertwined. Then his phone buzzed. It was a message from Chloe with photos. His breathing grew uneven. At the same time, I received a text from her. "Want to bet one picture from me and he'll come running?" I switched off my phone. I could already sense his mind had drifted. "Is there something you need to handle?" I asked softly. He hesitated. "Is it a new document from the company? Go back to the hotel. I'll take a walk. Just remember to pick me up later." Something told him that if he walked away he might lose me, but my gaze was calm. As he turned to leave, I called out, "Don't forget the path we took to get here." He smiled. "How could I forget, my little direction, challenged wife?" I watched him walk away, tears finally spilling down my face. A few moments later, a man approached me. "Miss Miller, all your domestic information has been canceled. Here are your new identity documents. Ava Miller no longer exists. You can board the ship to Finland at the harbor." My phone lit up again. Another message from Chloe. "Old Lady Miller, I just sent a photo of myself in lingerie and your husband came running." This time, I replied, "Congratulations, you got what you wanted." I handed my phone to the man. "Please send this back to the mainland. Make sure Ethan Hayes signs for it personally." I had never been the kind of woman who allowed herself to be humiliated. Chloe would pay, and Ethan would live with the consequences. I boarded the ferry. On deck, as the wind whipped around me, I slipped off my ruby wedding ring and let it fall into the sea. Back at the hotel, Ethan stood in silence, gripping Chloe's chin. "Didn't I tell you not to contact me while I was with her?" he asked coldly. Chloe was unbothered. Her bathrobe slipped to the floor, revealing a red bikini. She pressed herself against him. "I'm sorry, I just missed you." He gave in, carrying her to the bed. But afterward, a strange sense of panic crept in. He looked at the clock. He had been gone for over an hour. Ava must be worried. He rushed back to the harbor but couldn't find me. He assumed I was angry, hiding from him. He sent me a message. "Honey, I'm sorry. Don't hide from me." No reply. He called. No answer. Panic bloomed in his chest. He rushed to where they had parted, shouting my name. A chilling thought struck him. I had left. Impossible, he thought. I was in a foreign country, pregnant, but deep down he knew. Suddenly, a message from me lit up his phone. "I went back to the mainland first." He finally exhaled. I had just gone home, angry. He caught the earliest flight back and rushed home, only to find the house empty. The jewelry, the clothes, the photos all gone. A sick feeling rose in his chest. He called his secretary. "Within 1 hour, I want a complete report of Ava's movements over the past month." Soon, his secretary delivered surveillance footage. One clip, filmed outside the obstetrics department, made his hands tremble. Was that me? Sitting alone on the bench? Had I overheard his flirtatious call with Chloe? At that moment, the housekeeper entered. "Sir, an international delivery arrived for you." He opened the package and found a phone and a letter in my handwriting. "Ethan, I'm gone. The phone holds the answers you seek. There's a gift for you in the bedside drawer." With trembling hands, he opened the drawer. Inside were official divorce papers and a custody waiver. His face twisted in horror. The phone buzzed. It was Chloe. "Old Lady Miller, have you no shame? You promised to give me what I wanted. Why are you still clinging to my man?" He scrolled through the messages, filled with explicit videos and Chloe's taunts. A blood-chilling smile spread across his face. "So it was you, Chloe. You did all of this." Meanwhile, my scheduled divorce announcement appeared online. It was brief, stating that Ethan and I had separated. I would be retiring from public life. The post went viral. Ethan tried to claim my account had been hacked, but it was no use. The internet had caught the scent of scandal. No matter how hard he searched, I had vanished. All they could trace was that I had last been seen in Norway. The thought crushed him. He locked himself at home and drank, becoming irritable and cold. One night his phone buzzed again. "Hubby, would you like me in a sailor outfit tonight?" A cold smile tugged at his lips. He had almost forgotten the root of all this. Chloe opened the door, and a large hand seized her throat. "When I agreed to keep you," he said, his voice cold enough to freeze blood, "I told you a mistress stays in the shadows. How dare you send those things to her?" Chloe's face turned pale. "Ethan, I don't know what you mean," she cried. He took out my old phone and showed her the chat history. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I only did it because I loved you too much," she sobbed. "You, worthy of loving me?" he sneered. "I only ever wanted Ava's love. You and I were just a transaction," he told the bodyguard standing nearby. "Take her to the mental hospital." As they dragged her away, she screamed, "You betrayed Ava's love and mine. You will never be loved in this life." In Northern Europe, I was leafing through a parenting book, knowing nothing of the media storm back home. I was living comfortably in Finland, relying on my savings. With my background in fashion, I became a freelance designer and my life began to feel full again. One day, I ran into Liam Blackwood. He looked the same handsome and composed. I wanted to walk past him, but the street was icy and I slipped. In a flash, he caught me. "Thanks, Liam, but you can let go now," I said stiffly. He held on for a moment longer before releasing me. He had a way of appearing just often enough to disrupt my peace, always offering help at the right moments. One afternoon, I confronted him. "Liam, what do you want from me? You know I'm pregnant, right?" He looked at me without flinching. "Yes, and I also know you're divorced." "Then what do you want me to do?" I snapped. "Abort it," he said casually. I was speechless, but I was no longer 18. "The doctor said this might be the only child I'll ever have," I answered calmly. Then I heard him murmur, "Then thank God I'm having a child with you." "You sound so sure of yourself," I said, my face flushing. A faint smile curved his lips. "The result will be the same. You might as well stop fighting it." After that day, things changed. He bought the villa next to mine. He accompanied me to prenatal appointments, studied parenting techniques, and cooked for me. He never said it outright, but I understood. It's not what a man says that matters, but what he does. Time passed, and I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, Andy. In the hospital room, Liam stood beside me as the nurse placed the newborn in his arms. He froze. "He's wrinkled," he muttered. "Are you sure they didn't mix up the babies?" I smiled. He was still the same contradictory man. When Andy was 3 months old, he had a severe allergic reaction and a high fever. I sat by his hospital bed, crying. The doctor's voice echoed in my mind, "Call the father right away." I hesitated for only a moment before calling Liam. He dropped everything and raced over. He had never seen me so vulnerable. He quietly sat beside me and let me lean on his shoulder. "This was not your fault," he said softly. His voice calmed me and I finally drifted off to sleep. After that, I no longer pushed him away. I began to rely on him. We bickered playfully like a couple. One day he said, "I'm going back to the mainland next week." "Will you come back?" I blurted out. His eyes sparkled. "Of course I will. My wife and child are in Finland. How could I not?" He wrapped his arms around me from behind. "Wait for me," he whispered. Back in the mainland, Liam had a meeting with Olivia Hayes, Ethan's sister. She was sharp, but clearly troubled by her brother's mess. Through their conversation, Liam learned that Ethan had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was a wreck, occasionally attempting to cut his wrists. A sudden call interrupted their meeting. Olivia's face turned pale. "How did Ethan manage to jump from the second floor?" she shouted into the phone. "Liam sent me a message. News about your ex-husband." I replied instantly with a string of question marks. He explained the situation. I responded, "His affairs are none of my concern. Please don't bring him up again." That was the answer he had hoped for. It took more than 2 months for Liam to return. When he finally did, a passing photographer snapped a picture of him holding Andy. The photo went viral. At the Hayes estate, Ethan's father saw the photo online. The baby was a near-perfect replica of his son as a child. The news eventually reached Olivia, and then Ethan. The man who had collapsed in hopelessness suddenly found a light in his eyes. He had a reason to live. He would find me. He would find our child. "Faye, he knows about Andy," Liam told me, pulling me into his arms. "Your location may not be secret for long." My heart began to race, but Liam was there. "It's all right. I'm here." I hadn't thought of Ethan for a long time. My life was peaceful now. Even if we met again, there would be nothing to say. In his hospital bed, Ethan could no longer hold back his tears of regret. He had ruined everything. He had failed me, all for a brief distraction with Chloe. One night in Finland, after a little too much wine under the northern lights, Liam and I crossed a line. It started with a quiet evening and ended with me waking up in his arms. He was shameless, teasing me as he kissed me again. Later, I saw him in the kitchen, preparing formula for Andy, and a strange warmth spread through my chest. From that day on, he was always there, in my home, in my life, in my bed. One weekend, he took me to his cider estate. Rows of apple trees were in full bloom. "After you got married," he said, his smile fading, "I thought I'd lost my chance. I bought this place just to drink and forget. I planned to grow old alone here, but now you've come back." My heart filled with sorrow and tenderness. He slipped a ring on my finger. "You're caught now," he murmured. I kissed him, falling in love with him all over again. It was time to meet his family. They welcomed me warmly. It was through his sister that I learned Liam had once loved someone deeply, but they never had a chance. For years, he stayed single. Hearing about it was more painful than I expected. That night, I asked him why he never told me. "Because it hurt," he answered softly, "and because it didn't matter. I only care about now." Far away, Ethan learned that I was remarrying Liam. He wanted to run to me, to beg me not to, but Olivia had bodyguards keeping him in the hospital. He managed to sneak out and drove to the town where I was staying. From a distance, he saw me walking down the street, my fingers interlocked with Liam's, my eyes sparkling with joy. He glanced at his own haggard reflection in the car window and lost all his courage. He told the driver to return to the hospital. Later that night, Liam visited him. "Stay far away from my wife," he said coolly. "Do I not even deserve to see her once?" Ethan's face went pale. "Those who break their vows lose everything," Liam scoffed. The words shattered Ethan's final hope. His condition worsened. Ruby arranged for Chloe to take care of him. In a moment of calculation, Chloe, whose birth control had worn off, drugged Ethan and became pregnant. When he found out, his heart ached. He didn't want the child, but his parents insisted. He surrendered, marrying Chloe, but deep down he was broken. One clear, sunny day, he climbed to the top of a tall building and jumped. His will stated that all his assets were to be transferred to me and our son. With Ethan's death, Chloe's value vanished. The Hayes family blamed her for his suicide. Cut off financially, she disappeared. When I heard the news in Finland, I let out a long sigh. I returned to the mainland for a final goodbye. Holding Andy's small hand, I stood before Ethan's tombstone. "Mommy, who is this uncle?" Andy asked. My throat tightened. "It's your daddy," I whispered. "But isn't Daddy waiting for us at the mountain?" I looked up at the sky, trying to hold back the tears. "Andy, say goodbye to Daddy." I placed a bouquet of white chrysanthemums in front of the tombstone and walked away. At the base of the mountain, Liam was waiting. He scooped Andy up and took my hand. "I told you I would always be with you," he said. I met with Olivia. She handed me a folder with the assets Ethan had left. I pushed it back. "I'm sorry, I can't accept this. His money should go to his other child." I agreed to bring Andy to visit his grandparents once a year. back in Finland, I began to feel unwell. A visit to the doctor delivered the news. I was 4.5 weeks pregnant. I turned to Liam, whose composed face couldn't hide the twitch in his cheek. On the way home, he smiled to himself. Going to be a father again. 10 months later, I gave birth to another beautiful baby boy. Liam suggested a proper wedding. At first, I hesitated, but this was his first marriage. He deserved it. On a sunny morning, on a green lawn, I appeared in a flowing white gown with Andy as the flower boy. "Mr. Liam Blackwood, do you take?" "I do," Liam interrupted before the officiant could finish. The guests burst into laughter. Tears streamed down my face. "Liam," I said softly, "thank you. Thank you for never giving up on me." He shook his head, wiping away my tears. "No, my love, I should be thanking you. Thank you for giving me this chance." "I love you." That night, as I lay in his arms, I knew that no matter what the future held, we would face it together.